My wife left our daughter alone in the woods. She told me she was taking our daughter for a walk. Nothing unusual, nothing alarming, until the phone rang. A neighbor's voice, trembling. "Your little girl, she's alone, by the old woods." The words sliced through me. Alone? I drove like a madman, hands locked on the wheel, every second strangling me. My heart hammered against my ribs, but my mind stayed cold, calculating each turn, each breath. Police lights joined me, sirens cutting the silence. We searched, calling her name into the thick trees. And then she appeared. Small, fragile, holding a bouquet of wildflowers. Her face glowed with innocence. She looked at me with those soft, trusting eyes. "Daddy," she whispered, clutching the flowers tighter. "Mama said angels would come for me, but you came." I froze. The words buried themselves inside me like needles. Mama told her angels would come. Why? I pulled her into my arms, holding her like she might vanish if I blinked. And in that moment, I knew. I was her only angel. But the question that lingered, colder than the night air, was this: why would her mother want her gone at all? That night, after the police left, she acted normal. Too normal. She smiled, made tea, asked if I wanted sugar. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice didn't falter. I studied her, every detail. The way her eyes refused to meet mine. The way her phone stayed face down on the counter. My daughter's words repeated inside me. Mama said angels would come. What mother says that? Unless she was preparing her for something, for someone. And I remembered the distance, the late-night calls, the messages she guarded like they were sacred. I'd asked once. She said it was work, always work, but the hours didn't add up. Now the picture began to form. Not complete, but jagged pieces of betrayal sliding into place. I didn't accuse, not yet. Instead, I nodded at her words, smiled at her jokes, kissed her forehead when she leaned in. She thought the game was hidden, but I had already stepped onto the board, and I never play without winning. I started quietly, her phone. She slept deeply, I didn't. The screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize, a man's name. Messages buried in polite language, but sharp with intimacy. I copied them. Then the calls, logs she thought she erased, late nights, always the same number. I traced it. A second life began to bleed through. I didn't rage, didn't scream. Rage clouds the mind. I needed mine clear. DNA tests next. My daughter's hair, mine, hers. I sent them quietly, under a false name. At work, I functioned. At home, I smiled. Inside, my chest was a furnace sealed shut. She laughed over dinner, told me stories, leaned close. But every word she spoke felt like glass in my mouth. I imagined the man's voice whispering into her ear, her smile pressed against someone else's skin. The thought of it didn't break me, it sharpened me. I stopped being a husband in those days. I became something else, an observer, a surgeon cutting into rot, exposing it piece by piece, until nothing could hide any more. The envelope came on a quiet morning. I sat at the kitchen table, my daughter drawing flowers beside me. Her laughter filled the room as I tore it open. 2 words confirmed what I already knew. Not the father. I folded the paper once, twice, slipped it back into the envelope. No expression touched my face. That evening, I set it on the counter in front of her. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it." She did. Her fingers trembled before her face did. The color drained. Her lips parted, words fighting to escape, but choking instead. "It's not what it looks like." "It's exactly what it looks like." Her eyes flooded, panic breaking through her practiced calm. She reached for me, but I stepped back. No shouting, no rage, Only silence pressing in, and silence is heavier than any scream. I let her drown in that silence. She tried excuses, tears, promises, but every word she spoke was a thread snapping loose. I slid the copied messages across the table, the phone records, the photos I'd taken of her late-night drives, evidence stacked like stones on a grave. Her breath hitched, her shoulders collapsed. "You knew all this time?" "Yes." "And you said nothing?" "I wanted to see how far you'd go." Her face cracked. Fear replaced guilt. Not fear of me, but fear of what she had lost. I picked up my daughter's drawing from the table, a child's sketch of me with wings, her angel. I held it between us. She knows who her angel is, and it isn't you. Her tears blurred, her voice breaking into fragments. But I was already gone, even as I stood in front of her. The revenge wasn't in shouting or leaving. It was in the knowledge that she could never escape what she'd done, that every breath she took would remind her she lost the only thing that ever mattered. I didn't leave that night. I stayed, cold, present, untouchable. The house was no longer a home. It was a stage, and she was left alone with her script shredded. I tucked my daughter into bed, kissed her forehead, whispered nothing but silence into the air. When I looked at her sleeping face, I felt nothing but clarity. I was her angel, her protector, her truth, and her mother, her betrayer, was now only a shadow. I turned off the lights, walked through the house she poisoned, and for the first time, I felt no rage, no grief, only freedom. Because betrayal doesn't break you, it purifies you. And as I closed the door to our bedroom, leaving her to her tears, I whispered the only words that mattered. "You wanted angels. Now live with the devil you made."